Hey guys and gals, this is Sonic Arrow, and I'm bringing you the AMX 1375. This is a Tier 7 French light tank. It's been moved up from Tier 6 since the 7.5 patch, and right now it doesn't perform as well as it used to. And that's due to the fact that this gun, it's still a Tier 6, it's a 75mm, that has 144 average penetration and 135 average damage. Now, if you take that into account with your 6 shots, you'll be able to do an average of 810 damage to an enemy. The problem comes when you realize that as a light tank, you get put into higher tier games. In fact, you get into tier 9 and 10 games quite often, and you're at the bottom of the list. So most of those tanks have more than 1,000 hit points, and there's pretty much nothing you can do to roll up beside them and destroy them with a single clip. You're gonna have to wait at least 16 seconds to reload your gun, and then continue firing. Now the problem is the hull armor and turret armor, it doesn't matter what's written here, it's basically 0. Any gun that you'll be facing in this tank will be able to penetrate it. So it's a good idea to keep moving in this tank. It is quite small, and it does have a pretty good speed that it can reach, 61. There is a slight delay in its reaction. Well, the acceleration is not that great, but it is adequate to get you. The engine is adequate to get you to top speed, and what you have to remember is when you're coming out of a corner, here, let's say you're hiding behind a house or something like that. Usually you just drive forward and then, circle the enemy or whatever. In this tank, if you want to get speed before you leave your cover, you got to back up a little bit, and it's sort of like a run up before your max speed. So you'll have more speed coming out of the corner or the cover, and you'll be able to surprise slightly your enemy. Now this tank, it's pretty small. The gun isn't that great. So what you actually have to rely on is your teammates. This tank works very well in groups of 2 or 3, and usually teaming up with medium tanks is a good idea, as you can usually roll around with Type 59s and T-54s. Let's see, anything else? Well, the American tanks seem to be a bit slower, and I haven't seen that many medium American tanks so far. And since the sale on the Type 59, there's quite a few more of them. And the problem with teaming up with them is sometimes they don't know how to drive a medium tank, and they'll just be at the back sniping at something, probably. Now, there haven't been too many AMX 1375s that I've seen in my games. However, there are 1390s that I see, and usually if you can team up with 1390 and maybe a T-54 and a couple of Type 59s, stuff like that, you'll be able to run around with them, keep up with them, or they'll be able to keep up with you, and you can basically surround the enemy player if he's alone, or if you know, they're behind some cover that doesn't allow their allies to help them. Now, as a French light tank, you'll have to remember that most of these high-tier players will know what you can do, and also how weak your armor is. And basically, they'll aim for you first. If there's, let's say there's a 1375 and a Type 59, they will aim for the 1375 first. In fact, they'll probably aim for it even if there's other tanks around, like the American mediums, T20, or what was that thing? The T44 is a tier 8 Russian medium tank. Now, that's pretty much due to the fact that you have no armor and they know that they can penetrate you wherever they hit, and they want you to get you out of the game fast, and they'll get experience and stuff like that. So as a player of a 1375, you're gonna have to run around and you could wait until the enemy player is engaged in combat with the other medium tanks, and then roll out and finish them off. And that's where the next point comes in, is that this gun, after firing 6 rounds, has to reload, and you only do about 810 damage, which means you're going to have to wait until an enemy player has less than 800 hit points before going in and destroying them. Sometimes that works, other times it doesn't. Sometimes you're going to have to go in first when the enemy player is at 100%. So when that happens, you'll have to kind of plan out your attack before you do it. You'll have to look for ways to get out of there after firing off your 6 shots. So don't circle yourself into a corner and then get stuck because you're reloading and that guy has a clear shot on you. Always try to plan ahead with this tank, and this also, since it's been moved up to tier 7, you can't really do all those super amazing feats. I mean, you can still do some of them, but not quite as often. Let's see, the tracks, people like to blow off the tracks on these things, and that pretty much means you're gone. If they can blow off your tracks, there's probably some other player that can shoot at you directly. And also, the engine, you see there's like this little vent here. That's for the engine. The engine of this tank is in the front, which means anybody shooting you from the front in any direction, over here, whatever, they'll most likely damage your engine. And at half your horsepower, you're very sluggish. In fact, you won't be able to play this tank properly if your engine's been hit. So if you do have your tracks damaged, and you know that there's no way that, or you're fairly certain that there's no way that the enemy team can hit you, or you're certain that you can take 1 or 2 hits without dying, don't repair your tracks. Save it for the engine. And also, that brings us to the crew training. You should probably use repair so that you can get your tracks up quite fast. What I've done is actually go with recon, snapshot, and smooth ride because I want to see further, and I also want to not take so long to aim, as the aiming reticle on this tank is quite large. There's almost no way you can really snipe with this tank. On the move, the reticle is even larger, and the only way you'll be able to make proper hits on enemies is if you are right next to them and circling them to death. So, 40 track traverse and 46 turret traverse is very good. There are certain cases where a heavy tank can is almost able to catch up to you. So if you're stuck on like a little bit of rock, then they'll probably catch up to you and blow you to bits. So you gotta watch out for those things as well. Watch out for the terrain. 390 view range is pretty good for a light tank. And what I've done is couple that with a camouflage net so that I could do some passive spotting. And right now I don't have enough credits, but I would have also added in coated optics, which improves your view range even if you're moving. Alright, so there's also improved ventilation that I put on pretty much all of my tanks, because that improves everything. And also, 750 meters of signal range means that you won't be out of contact with most of your team that often. In fact, in these higher tier games, everybody's got a pretty big radio, so you'll mostly be able to see whatever everybody else is seeing on your mini-map, and that is kind of crucial with this tank. You got to plan out your attack, so you have to know where the enemy team is. You don't just see one guy that's in front of you and then, you know, rush out, try to circle him, and then there's 3 of his buddies right behind, you know, sniping at you from wherever they are. So I've got 30 armor piercing rounds and 6 HE. There's no way you can have less because it's in a drum magazine, and basically it's 0 or 6. So I keep a set of high explosive because sometimes when you're in a tight position and you need to hit the enemy team that's capping, I'll load in some HE just so I don't have to, you know, circle them and get right in between them before unloading a shot, because I want to survive, be helpful in the team, which doesn't normally happen in this kind of tank. I usually end up dying, but that's before I, you know, I help out first and then die. Although I wish I didn't die so much. This is a pretty weak tank in terms of armor. It is a light, and you know, I've tried chasing those other light tanks, the tier 5 T50-2s and Chaffies. Now the Chaffee is only slightly faster than this guy, but he's but because of the aiming on this cannon, you're gonna have to be right up to the guy, right up to the Chaffee before you can hit him anyway. And I kind of show that off in one of the replays I'm gonna use. And with that, let's get into a replay. And here we are on Fisherman's Bay. This is a match that I lost, and I'm going to tell you why. This is also a little bit of a strategy, basic strategy in fact. Watch this. Every single tier 10 heavy tank, all the tanks actually, head over towards the city, over at G9. And here I am thinking, well, we gotta cover the west side, so what comes with me? An Object 704, that's fine, but nobody else. There are, I think there's 3 heavy tanks that notice that there's nobody here, and they kind of ping the map, you know? However, they themselves don't come over, so they're not being that great either. They're just noticing but not covering the deficiencies in our attack. So there was an IS-7 and now there's a T-110 that just noticed it. And here I am, tier 7 light tank, sitting right here with just an Object 704 to help me defend. And well, you can see how this is why we lost. And okay, that was that tank coming down the middle. That's an IS-4. And he's right over there. He'll show up soon enough. What is that? A T-34 actually comes back over, or he tries to anyway. There's that Chaffee. So, I already know that we're gonna lose, so here I am. I'm gonna see if I can just chase down Chaffee, because that's pretty much the only thing I can kill that has less than 800 hit points. And he's taking out our artillery. There goes that Lorraine. And there I notice there's an IS-4 that's on fire, and now he's less than 800 points of health. So, I'm gonna take shots at him. I get a kill on an IS-4, that's kinda nice. But right now, there's a whole bunch of guys behind me. Watch that, they're all shooting at me. There's a T-54 that just shot my ammo rack. That's bad, because that doubles my reload time, so obviously I repair that. Don't want to do that. Don't want to get your ammo rack not repaired. And there's that Chaffee again. And alright, so here I go. I'm kind of lucky on these shots as I hit them. I get a little stuck on his carcass. And right now I'm just reloading because I know that there's time before I meet another enemy. And you can see how quickly our team just gets destroyed. And this is why you don't send every single one of your tanks to one side. So there's that T-54, and I'm thinking, alright, I can take him on. I missed the first shot. And somebody's hit him. And there I go, I get tracked by an E-75. And then die. But I managed to damage an IS-7 and kill that T-54. And that's it. So, on to the next game. Alright, and now we're on Ruinberg. It's a tier 9 game, and you will notice, well here let me show you, there are T-54s, 1391, and Type 59s in this game. And that's great. I'll have people I can team up with. Except they're all splitting up. So, I decide I'm going to go with the 1390, because he will probably know, he or she will probably know what I'm capable of. Let's see. Basically, what I'm thinking right now is that I have to hide somewhere, wait for people to be lit, like the enemy players, before I move in to attack. So here I am, I'm gonna hide right here. I usually like to get a bit more information on where the enemy players are before I move out. And that's pretty much what I've done so far. I'm just waiting, biding my time, just driving around. Here I go, and I realize that because there's these guys here, the enemy tanks will probably be aiming in that direction, so that's a bad idea for me to go there. In fact, they shouldn't be on the cap right now anyway. So I was thinking, let's try to help out this T-54. So here, watch this. I peek out and I realize that T-32 is actually pretty far away. I probably won't be able to reach it without getting hit by a Panther and another 1390, or that M103 that's right there. Thankfully, my tank is really small and I can hide pretty well. And alright, so I noticed that there's a Type 59 over there, and I think, well, let's go help him out. There's a T-30 that I think he's going to go attack, so I decide, well, let's flank him and, you know, take him out. we should be able to do that. The turret and turning speed on that thing isn't that great, and if he misses a shot, his reload is even worse. So here I go. I was kind of hoping that Type 59 would be, you know, around there. I got stuck on that rock because I was kind of looking at that Yak Panther, you know, Yak Tiger 8.8. And here you go, I realized T-30 is not paying attention to me. First shot misses, goes wild. Second shot, no damage. Third shot, nothing. And look at that. Basically, I damaged him once. And look, I just stopped for a second, and I'm almost down. Like, it takes quite a long time to get up to speed, and you should never do that in this tank. Thankfully, a T-34 destroys that T-30. And back to the T-54 to help with the M103. And there's a Tiger piece. So I'm thinking, well, if I go out there, the Tiger piece is going to chew me up. So that's not a good thing for me to do. Also, that T-54 has worked quite hard for that kill, and I'm not going to deny him that. Oh, but he did get hit. He gets the kill, and now I'm going to run around and see if I can outflank that Tiger P. It does have 200 millimeters of frontal armor, which means there's pretty much no way I can dent that thing. So here I go. Oh! He was deciding he was going to do the same thing. Thankfully, I backed up just in time. And less than 800 HP. So here I go. Shoots me first. And now he's got... You know, he should have hit that T-54 first. Instead of aiming at Type 59. Oh, I got stuck there. 0 damage shots, that's very annoying. 0 damage penetrating shots is very annoying. And thankfully we got that guy, and I had some extra ammo, so having one shot in this tank is not a good idea. So I do a quick reload, 16 seconds, and off to find something else to kill. I was kind of hoping to find some artillery here. However, they don't seem to be here at all. There we go, we spot a Yak Tiger 8.8. That was the one I was worried about before, and look, the only thing he's worried about is me. He's shooting at me. He's presenting his side and rear to tanks that deal a hell of a lot more damage than I do. But because I'm much faster, there we go. He gets taken out by the T-34. But you would notice, I mean, you should notice that that T-34 almost caught up to me. Circling isn't incredible. So here's a AMX 5120, and I was kind of hoping I can kill him in these shots, but I was wrong, and he takes me out. That thing is pretty sloped, and now the Type 59 is done, and let me go into free camera mode. Where are they? Let me zoom out here. I've got this camera mod thing that lets me zoom out a lot further, but I only use that for like watching other players once I'm done. Or, you know, in a replay if I don't switch my vehicle. There's an M7 Priest, T-34 blasts the GW Panther right there, and then goes for the Priest. Here, let me get that shot in. There. And now we've won. So, let's see, I've got 2,064 experience, but that was on a ×3. 13,000 credits and 8,000 repairs. Obviously, if I hadn't died, I would have gotten more credits. That's too bad. It's fine, I didn't lose money on this tank. Even on that previous one, I didn't lose money on, which is kind of surprising. So 14 out of 13 shots. Whoops. 13 out of 14 shots. That makes more sense, right? And that is enough to get me a sniper. But then again, missing shots when you're, 50 meters away from the guy, isn't that... getting shots when you're 50 meters away from a guy isn't that impressive. So, anyways, here's the AMX 1375 Tier 7 light tank from France. And thanks for watching. Please press that like button and leave some comments. Maybe if you want me to shorten that garage part a bit more. I know it was like 13 minutes or something. I think in future videos I'll try to keep that even shorter. Hopefully. So, I'll see you guys next time.